Ibintu bikomeje gufata indi ntera mu mujyi wa Washington ndetse no mu yindi mijyi ikomeye yo muri Leta Zunze Ubumwe za Amerika. Urebye ku binyamakuru bitandukanye, inkuru zicikana n'izindi batandukanye bakomeje kwisuka mu mihanda mu mijyi imwe n'imwe mu Leta Zunze Ubumwe za Amerika bishira intsinzi ya perezida wabo Joe Biden. Igaragaza aya mashusho y'abantu bishimye ku buryo bukomeye. Intsinzi ya Joe Biden ni intsinzi yagaruzwe mu binyamakuru byinshi nk'uko twakomeje kugenda tubibazaho, ariko noneho muri aka kanya ni ibirori bikomeye ku buryo igihugu cya Leta Zunze Ubumwe za Amerika. Tuvuye kuri iriya shene ya NBC News,
Joe Biden has now beaten Donald Trump and has been declared by a number of US networks and the Associated Press, and we are calling it here at Al Jazeera. Joe Biden is going to be the next president of the United States. All of that has hinged on a vote count in Pennsylvania. Let's speak to Kristen Salumi. She's in Philadelphia, where she's been following that very closely for us. Kristen, can you give us a sense of what's the enormity of what's just happened there? I do want to flag that we are starting to see some Trump supporters gather
Joe Biden.
Clearly, there is a lot of tension around this count.
Absolutely, and Pennsylvania has been the target of President Trump's ire and legal maneuvers to attempt to stop ballots from being counted and declare victory. He did that, his attorney did that as soon as Election Day, claiming that the president should be declared the winner here.
Uyu munyamakuru wa Al Jazeera arasa n'uvuga uburyo ki intara ya Pennsylvania izaba intara itazibagirana mu mateka ya Joe Biden.
Just under 31,000 votes, that puts him.
Abantu basaga n'abagahunga batazi ikiri bukurikireho bibaza bati ninde utsinda, ariko ubwo perezida wiyamamaje ku mwanya wa perezida nyine mu ishyaka ry'Abademokarate yatangazwaga muri Pennsylvania ko atsinze, nibwo abantu babonye ko ikinyuranyo kivuye kuko amajwi yasaba 288.
Some of the horns honking since
Donald Trump we yarakiriye kuri 118.
Been declared for Joe Biden. We've seen people cheering in the streets and people circulating around, honking their horns in celebration.
Abana bari kugaragaza ibyishimo bafite kubera gutsinda kwa Joe Biden mu mujyi wa Washington. Reka turebe ko itangazamakuru mpuzamahanga twari turi kuri NBC News ndetse no kuri
My fellow Americans, let me introduce to you for the first time your next Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris. Kamala, floor is yours.
Here you go.
Madame Harris.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Joe.
Murakoze Joe.
As I said, Joe, when you called me, I am incredibly honored by this responsibility, and I'm ready to get to work.
Ati nkuko Joe amaze kubivuga nanjye nishimiye ku buryo
After the most competitive primary in history, the country received a resounding message that Joe was the person to lead us forward. And Joe, I'm so proud to stand with you.
nishimiye Joe ko tuzampagararanye nawe.
All the heroic and ambitious with me, whose sacrifice, determination, and resilience makes my presence here today even possible. This is a moment of real consequence.
Nubwo network itameze neza byari gushaka ko tugenda tugerageza gusemura ibyo Mme Harris kuvuga.
For America.
Tugerageza.
Everything we care about, our economy, our health, our children, the country we live in, it's all on the line. We're reeling from the worst public health crisis in a century. The president's mismanagement of the pandemic has plunged us into the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression.
Ati akaga Perezida Trump yadushyizemo kubera icyorezo cya corona byadushyize mu bibazo by'ubukene bukomeye butazibagirana. Network igaragaza nk'ifite ikibazo mu by'ukuri kugira ngo dukomeze kumva ijambo rya Mme Harris, ariko birashoboka ko yongera ikaba nziza tugakomeza tubyumva, gusa aho yarageze muri akanya yasaga
Our country demanding change. America is crying out for leadership.
Amerika imumarira kubera
than the people who elected him. A president who is making every challenge we face even more difficult to solve. But here's the good news. We don't have to accept the failed government of Donald Trump and Mike Pence. In just 83 days, we have a chance to choose their future for our country. So, Dr. Biden, thank you for the trust you've placed in me. Jill, I know you will be an incredible First Lady. And my husband Doug and I are so grateful to become a part of your extended family. And ever since I received Joe's call, I've been thinking, yes, about the first Biden that I really came to know, and that, of course, is Joe's beloved son, one of his beloved sons, Bo.
uyu mugore akarimo yizeza abamukurikira yuko mu gihe cyose azaba ari kumwe na Joe Biden muri perezidansi, kuko azaba ari visi perezida wiwe, bazahindura byinshi kandi Amerika bakazabaho mu buryo buboneza kurusha.
We had billions of dollars for homeowners from the big banks of the nation that were foreclosing on people's homes. And let me just tell you about Bo Biden. I learned quickly that Bo was the kind guy who inspired people to be a better version of themselves. He really was the best of us. And when I would ask him, where'd you get that? Where did this come from? He'd always talk about his dad. And I will tell you, the love that they shared was incredible to watch. It was the most beautiful display of the love between a father and a son. And Bo talked about how Joe would spend 4 hours every day riding the rails back and forth from Wilmington to Washington. So he
network ntabwo imeze neza, ariko uko biri kose
could make his in the morning and make it home in time to tuck him in bed each night. All of this, so 2 little boys who had just lost their mom and their sister in a tragic accident would know that the world was still turning. That's how I came to know Joe. He's someone whose first response when things get tough is never to think about himself, but to care for everyone else. He's someone who never asks, why is this happening to me?
Joe Biden
Instead asks, what can I do to make life for you? His empathy, his compassion, his sense of duty to care for others is why I am so proud to be on this ticket.
Ati Joe Biden ni umuntu nishimiye kuba ntabe iruhande rwe ngo dukorane, agenda amuvuga ibigwi.
And I cannot wait for America to get to know my husband Doug and our amazing kids Cole and Ella. Because whether I'm cheering in the bleachers at a swim meet,
amarangamutima y'abadamu ntabura. Uyu mudamu avuze inshuro zigeze kuri 3 umugabo wiwe,
school debate, or building Legos with my
gusa arakebuka inyuma ntatumubone ku mafoto.
my 2 baby nieces, or dinner, Sunday dinner. My family means everything to me. And I've had a lot of titles over my career. And certainly, Vice President will be great. But Mamala will always be the one that means the most. And you know, my mother and father, they came from opposite sides of the world to arrive in America. One from India and the other from Jamaica, in search of a world-class education.
arimo gusobanura ukuntu mu by'ukuri akomoka ku babyeyi baturutse hanze baje muri Amerika, kandi akavuga ko ari abantu babaye mu mashuri adahambaye cyane, ariko ari ku rwego rwo kuba Vice President w'igihugu cya Amerika. Iri jambo rihumuriza benshi ryumvikana niribwira muti ntimwihebe, naho mwaturuka hose muri abanyamerika kandi mushobora gutera imbere mukagira icyo mugeraho.
And every generation of Americans to keep on marching. She'd tell us, don't sit around and complain about things, do something. So I did something. I devoted my life to making real the words carved in the United States Supreme Court, justice under law. And 30 years ago, I stood before a judge for the first time, breathed deep, and uttered the phrase that would truly guide my career and the rest of my career. Kamala Harris for the people. The people. That's who I represented as district attorney, fighting on behalf of victims who needed help. The people. That's who I fought for as California's Attorney General when I took on transnational criminal organizations who traffic in guns and drugs and human beings. And it's the people who I have fought for as a United States Senator, where I've worked every day to hold Trump officials accountable to the American people. And the people are who Joe and I will fight for every day in the White House. And let me tell you, as somebody who has presented my fair share of arguments in court, the case against Donald Trump and Mike Pence is open and shut. Just look where they've gotten us. More than 16 million out of work. Millions of kids who cannot go back to school. A crisis of poverty, of homelessness, afflicting Black, brown, and indigenous people the most. Crisis of hunger, afflicting 1 in 5 mothers who have children that are hungry. And tragically, more than 165,000 lives that have been cut short.
Uyu mudamu ageze n'avuga ko ku buyobozi bwa Trump abanyamerika bageze n'aho bishwa n'inzara, akavuga ati mwiba namwe umuntu ufite abana 5 adafite ibyo kurya uko yarabayeho.
6 years ago, in fact, we had a health crisis with Ebola. And we all remember that pandemic. But you know what happened then? Barack Obama and Joe Biden did their job. Only 2 people in the United States.
Ati mu gihe cyatambutse twahuye n'ibibazo nka Ebola, ariko icyo gihe Joe Biden ku butegetsi na Obama bagize ikintu.
That is what's called leadership. But compare that to the moment we find ourselves in now. When other countries are following the science, Trump pushed miracle cures he saw on Fox News. While other countries were flattening the curve, he said the virus would just poof, go away. Quote, like a miracle. So when other countries opened back up for business, what did we do?
Trump yigiriye kuri Fox News aravuga ati iyo si virusi yacu.
This virus has impacted almost every country. But there's
Fox News ni ikinyamakuru cyakunze kuba muri propaganda za Donald Trump, nkuko twahoze tubivuga mu makuru ya mbere.
It's because of Trump's failure.
Ati rero icyitwa science yagiteye umugeri yigira mu gitangazamakuru, avuga ko ndetse na bimwe mu byorezo byugarije isi na Amerika bitaba.
His flip-flopping on social distancing and wearing masks. His delusional belief that he knows better than the experts. All of that is reason. And the reason that an American dies of COVID-19 every 80 seconds. It's why countless businesses
ati rero
had to
Trump
shut
akikora
their
ibyo
doors
mu
for
gihe
good.
buri masegonda
It's why there is
umunani
complete chaos
Amerika
when
y'Imana.
and how to reopen our schools. Mothers and fathers are confused and uncertain and angry about childcare and the state of their kids.
Ati rero kubera ibyo byose Barack yakoraga byatumaga abaturage bahora mu kangaratete no muri confusion bibaza cyane cyane uko bakwiye kwitwara mu cyorezo nk'iki ngiki igihe perezida bizaga bafite batoye atatangaga umucyo ukwiye ku bijyanye n'uko kigomba kurindwa. Ati birumvikana zari impungenge z'ababyeyi bari bafite abana ku ishuri cyangwa se afite abana bari mu ngo bibaza perezida utambara agapfukamunwa utita kuri social distancing. Ati ibyo byakomeje kubabaza imitima y'abanyamerika cyane. Nijwita mu buryo buri
Whether they danger, if they go or fall behind, if they don't. Trump is also the reason millions of Americans are now unemployed. He inherited the longest economic expansion in history from Barack Obama and Joe Biden. And then, like everything else he inherited, he ran it straight into the ground. Because of Trump's failures of leadership, our economy has taken one of the biggest hits out of all the major industrialized nations, with an unemployment rate that has tripled as of today. This is what happens when we elect a guy who just isn't up for the job. Our country ends up in tatters, and so does our reputation around the world. But let's be clear, this election isn't just about defeating Donald Trump or Mike Pence. It's about building this country back better. And that's exactly what Joe and I will do. We'll create millions of jobs and fight climate change through a clean energy revolution. Bring back critical supply chains so the future is made in America. Build on the Affordable Care Act so everyone has the peace of mind that comes with health insurance. And finally, offer caregivers the dignity, the respect, and the pay they deserve. We'll protect a woman's right to make her own decisions about her own body. Root out systemic racism in our justice system. And pass a new Voting Rights Act.
Rero bishoboka ko ari ikimenyetso kimwe mu bigaragaza yuko mu byo Joe Biden azitaho na Vice President Harris hazabaho kugarura Amerika mu masezerano ya Paris. Ni ikintu abantu batekerezaga cyane. Amasezerano yo kwita ku kirere ndetse no kubungabunga
service. Why he helped rise the Voting Rights Act and restore unemployment discrimination and employment discrimination laws.
hafi mu gihe gitambutse nta minsi itanu ishize mu gihe ndetse amatora yabaga nk'umunsi umwe ngabe ariko leta ya Trump yafashe umwanzuro wo gukura Leta Zunze Ubumwe za Amerika burundu mu masezerano ya Paris. Ese bizagenda gute kugira ngo Amerika isubire muri aya masezerano?
But as Joe always points out, this election is about more than politics. It's about who we are as a country. And I'll admit, over the past 4 years, there have been moments when I have truly worried about our future. But whenever I think that there is a reason for doubt, whenever I've had my own doubts, I think of you, the American people, the doctors and nurses and frontline workers who are risking your lives to save others. Truck drivers and the workers in grocery stores.
Madame Harris amaze gushimira abaganga, abaforomo n'abandi bakora bashoboye gukora amanywa n'ijoro kugira
help us
ngo
get through this
bagire icyo
pandemic.
bakora
The
mu
women
gukiza
and
ubuzima
students
bwacu
taking
mu kaga
to the
kubera
streets in
coronavirus.
unprecedented numbers. The dreamers and immigrants who know that families belong together. LGBTQ Americans who know that love is love. People of every age and color and creed who are finally declaring in one voice that yes, Black Lives Matter. All across this country, a whole new generation of children is growing up hearing the cries for justice and the chants of hope on which I was raised, some strapped into strollers of their own. And trust me, it's a song you'll never forget. So to everyone keeping up the fight, you are doing something. You are doing
Mme Harris
something
kandi
great.
arizeza
You
abantu
are the
bafite inyota
heroes of
y'ubutabera ku bantu babo
our
bagiye
time.
batakaza ubuzima
And you
baswa
are the
kubera ko ari
reason
abirabura
I
avuga
know
ati
we are going
believe
to
me
bring our
munyizere
country
trust me
closer
ibyo
to
byose
realizing
tuzakoraho
its great promise.
ubutabera
But to
bukaboneka
do it,
mu
we'll
gihe
need to
gikwiye.
work, organize, and vote like never before because we need more than a victory on November 3rd. We need a mandate that proves that the past few years do not represent who we are or who we aspire to be. Joe likes to say that character is on the ballot, and it's true. When he saw what happened in Charlottesville 3 years ago today, he knew we were in a battle for the soul of our nation. And together with your help, that's a battle we will win. Earlier this year, I said I'd do whatever Joe asked me to do. And so now I'm asking you to do the same. So visit joebiden.com to get involved in this campaign and vote. Because electing Joe Biden is just the start of the work ahead of us. And I couldn't be prouder to be by his side, running to represent you, the people. Thank you, and may God bless the United States of America.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube
rero
channel.
ni ijambo
Subscribe by
Mme
clicking on that
Harris
button down
amaze
here
kuvuga
and click on any videos over here.
bateraniye
It's the latest
Washington
interviews,
muri aka
show
kanya
highlights, and
imbaga
digital
nini cyane
exclusives. Thanks for watching.
yarikurikiye kugira ngo yumve imigabo n'imigambi ya natwe rero nka Ijyange Ingange TV twagerageje gukomeza
Christopher of NBC News. I welcome you to the final 2020 presidential debate between President Donald Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden. Tonight's debate is sponsored by the Commission on Presidential Debates. It is conducted under health and safety protocol designed by the Commission's health security advisor. The audience here in the hall has promised to remain silent.